a paradise lost. Yep. Think about a time on earth many thousands of years ago where many forms and types of creatures roamed these lands, and they pretty much got along with one another, even though there were clear, distinct differences of appearances regarding those varieties of species. For example, you might have different creatures drinking out of the same pond, and the creatures would look at each other. It's like, hey, I know you ain't like me because you don't smell like me, you don't look like me, you don't walk like me, and you don't talk like me. But nevertheless, I don't have any problems with you. And other type of creatures would approach it in a more hip way. They might be walking down the road, and then some totally different creatures come their way on the approaching opposite, and then they look at one another, they stop and meet in the middle of the road, and then one of the creatures might be like, well, I ain't got no problem with you, and I know you don't got no problem with me, so you keep doing you, and I'll keep doing me. And then both of them, or whatever, how many types of creatures there are, would continue their journey. It's like, oh well, oh well. But things like this would be happening all over the lands on the entire earth. Well, they certainly would, where those particular places would be populated with animals, creatures, species, and beasts. So for a great time, there was complete and total peace. Then you have to think about the fact that there was no borders. There was no countries. There was no continents. There was no maps. So everything was pretty much open and expanded, where creatures can roam about freely wherever they chose, and they wouldn't be prohibited or restricted from going to and from. So this went on for quite some time, and you might say that it was a complete utopian way of life, and those societies then acted like utopian societies. And at that time, many thousands of years ago, paradise was there. And many knew not of war, many knew not of conflict, many knew not of strife, because those things were not part of their conditioning. Yes, things such as battles and strifes involving those that have problems with one another usually are things that are conditioned into the mindset of parties involved. Because if you're not going to be born automatically knowing how to use a gun or swing a knife or sword, so you have to be conditioned that way. So getting back to the paradise many, many, many years ago. As we know it, there were no established governments which divided civilizations of animal creature kind. Like, there was nothing where you would have to go to get a passport to get over here or to get over there. You could just get there freely and you wouldn't be stopped from going to whatever place you chose. So truly, those utopian or that utopian society way back then was completely and totally free. In fact, there was no more of a freer, living, breathing society as a whole than those way back before a paradise was lost. Stay tuned for the sequel.